welcome to another episode of the Web3 Experience. Today I'm here with Brandan, talking about the things he's doing in the space to help creators. So I'm interested to get into the talks. Talk about your journey as a businessman and what pushed you into Web3.
Yeah, so my journey into Web3, I started out in 2014 with Bitcoin, dark web, and all of that nonsense. Then we ended up canceling that. Later on, we get back into crypto, we get into NFTs. I've been in the NFT space for about 2.5 years now. And then we started a blockchain education platform called IC Growth. After that, we started a nonprofit, and we're bringing the nonprofit to Web3. And then we're also starting our business that's been around for 2.5 years now called Creative Collab. And we're getting into the merchandising industry. We're a collaboration incubator, but we're bringing the collaborations to merch drops with NFC technology, and we're validating the drops on our platform. So let's say Louis Vuitton does 50 bags with us and the Nakamigos on the bag, then you can come to our platform and validate that it's a real Louis because they have a profile with us and we're validating the drop.
You know, and I also wanted to touch on, like, we're right near Chinatown, right? There's a lot of fakes. So the verified aspect of NFCs, of digital assets, it's something that a lot of people don't understand, but when you go out on the streets and you see how many fake bags, apparel, anything, you can get a $1,000 suitcase, Louis suitcase, pretty much the same shit for $60 here on the street. So it's like, how does this technology, how does NFCs and merchandising, how are you going to help that added layer of verification using digital technology?
So essentially, there needs to be someone that can back it up, right? The NFC technology is cool, but if you don't have somebody backing it up, like a certain platform, like for example, OpenSea is blue check marking all the collection. So we're gonna blue check mark these drops. And with that, when you're doing in real life events, you get a receipt, and then you can prove that it is a valid collection. So any sort of utility that you want to offer with that comes with that receipt. And you don't even have to actually have on the wearable at the event. So when it comes to the industry with designer, Louis Vuitton has to have graders that are actually verifying on eBay a secondhand market. As a matter of fact, eBay has NFC chips that they put inside the bag after a grader validates that it's a real Louis on the scene. And that's something that just came out literally a couple weeks ago. So what we're doing is beating them to the punch and validating the purchase from the beginning instead of on the secondary market. So when you sell that receipt and you sell that bag, it comes with it. The same way you would get a physical certificate if you were to buy like a Breitling or whatever the case may be.
So if somebody was to buy an expensive Louis bag from a store, are they going to be receiving NFC chips with their purchases from now on, with NFTs, with this technology to help verify on both ends, the digital and the physical realm?
So yes, if they would like, you can also validate the purchase without the NFC chip, because if you give out 100 shirts and you airdrop the NFT to 100 people and then they burn that NFT to receive a receipt, then it's a valid purchase. So even if it doesn't have a chip in it, I can look at that and say, I know that that's real because if I go to Creative Collab's website, he is the first person to burn that receipt, right? The NFC chip is almost a way to have a social experience, right? You put it on the sleeve, right, on the wrist. It's like, let me just like go ahead and check right now, instead of me having to look it up and do all that. Because at the end of the day, I can take an NFC and I can write it to whatever I want, and I can point it to whatever address I want to point it to, but without that platform verifying everything, it really doesn't mean much.
I know some people that have NFC chips in their hands, bro, and in their arm. They're like, here, scan my arm. And then their business card pops up. It's like, what the fuck? So what is your outlook on Web3, on this digital scarcity and being backed by verified, trusted third-party platforms like yourself?
My outlook on it is we want to do it first. Once everyone else starts to do it, it kind of loses its validity, right? So the first person to do it, which is us right now, as far as what I know, is going to be the one where everyone wants to make sure their collection is validated on, right? Right now, when it comes to NFTs, we have OpenSea, we have Magic Eden, we have, all the other ones. But what was the new one that just came out? The NFT mark, Blurred, right? We've got Blurred. And so we want to focus on merch drops because our profile users are KYC verified, and so now we're offering in real life utility into events just simply with the search of a database. And outside of that, no one else is really validating merch right now when it comes to designer brands. It's just kind of like, oh, that looks nice, where'd you get that? Oh, well, I have my guy make it for me. Oh, well, I made it myself. It's like, okay, well, is it authentic? Did it come from the founders of the collection? Is it really backed by the actual project, you know what I mean? And so that's what we want to do. We want to allow the project to back it up.
Awesome. I appreciate your time, bro. It was a pleasure getting to know you and what you do for the space. I appreciate it, brother.